Hello, and welcome to the Supernatural track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail Martin, and tonight we are talking about our favorite Sam episodes. Sam and Dean shared the screen, and for much of the show, they were pretty balanced in the episodes, but there are definitely some Sam-centric episodes and some Dean-centric episodes, and tonight we're talking about some of our favorite Sam-centric episodes. But before we start, let's let our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, starting with Elektra.
I'm Elektra Hammond. I'm a writer and an editor, and I started watching Supernatural from that very first episode, and I watched it all the way through to the end, which absolutely made me cry.
And Carole.
I'm Carole Stokes. I've been a Supernatural fan since season 3. Started writing fanfic in 2012. And as Ellis Colton, I am an MM romance author.
And I'm Gail C. Martin, and Morgan Bryce. As Gail, I write epic and urban fantasy. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male, paranormal romance. But all of my stories have ghosts and hauntings and magic. And I fell in love with the show halfway through season 11, binge watched 11 seasons in time for the start of season 12, fell down the rabbit hole, and really haven't come up ever since. So let's just go around, give one Sam-centric episode and what we love about it, and we'll just keep going till the timer runs out. Carole, start us off.
Provenance. I love Provenance. It's one of my favorite episodes, and certainly both brothers are in it, but we get a lot of focus on Sam because this is one of the first times he has been interested in a lady since his girlfriend Jessica, fried to a crisp on the ceiling of their apartment. So a lot of kind of hesitation and tentative, but he's interested, and Dean tries to give him a little push, and the woman in question is really a great character. Happily lives on in a lot of fanfic. She's one of the ones who learns what's going on, wants to fight. Like, she's not like running away going, oh no, I'm so scared. No, she's like in it, she's in there. The Monster of the Week story is really good. But we get to see Sam. It's season 1, about halfway through season 1, episode 9, and we get to see Sam is kind of starting to settle into the whole thing of him and Dean going around hunting again. He's just starting to relax a little bit. Like I said, he's been coming to terms with Jessica's passing, and so now he's like kind of realizing, hey, it doesn't mean I can't experience affection in my life and so it's just really a good episode, well plotted, and really, I feel, moves his story along a little bit, his character development. He's still kind of in that younger, shyer Sam persona, which Jared is just really deft about. That he's a big guy. He's still kind of coltish. He's growing into his size still a little bit, but he's all, he's a little aw shucks, a little shy, a little not sure how to, handle stuff. When they go in a restaurant, and the waiter gives him a wine list, and he's like, oh my God. And she's like, how about a beer? And he's like, yeah, yeah. So very sweet, and always an episode I enjoy watching. You're muted.
Elektra?
Who we are from the end of season 12. This is after they've been locked in by the British men of letters. We don't know who they are yet. And Dean uses the grenade launcher to break them out so they don't die, injuring himself in the process. And this is where we really see Sam showing the first signs of leadership that's going to become really apparent in season 13. He steps up and leads Jody and Walt and Roy and the other hunters as they go to take down the British men of letters and have it out. Like, you cannot take down the American hunters. We're going to go to your bunker and, well, your headquarters, and we are just going to take you down. And Sam is giving orders and nobody's questioning them. And this is really not Sam and Dean. This is Sam, and he is a leader beyond, nobody questions him. And we've seen glimpses of it up until now, but this is Sam grown into himself. And it's the beginning of, we know that if something happens to Dean, Sam's going to be just fine. He's going to be sad, but he'll be fine.
Yeah. I had that on my list as well, because Sam stepping up and taking charge and everything is just terrific.
I'm going to go back to Mystery Spot. Now, the emphasis in Mystery Spot is on all of Dean's deaths, but the episode is from Sam's point of view. And this is early on in the show, as Carole was saying, we've seen Sam as kind of getting back into the life. He seems a little more innocent than Dean, a little less hard-edged. And I think Mystery Spot is one of the first places where we start to see that Sam has a dark strength in him that is every bit as potentially terrifying as Dean. Piss off a Winchester and you're gonna learn not to do it again. And so we haven't really glimpsed much. It's not necessarily a darkness as in something that is essentially bad, but it can certainly go that way unrestrained, because there is the classic Winchester obsession to it. And that starts to really raise its head as we get further and further into Mystery Spot. And Sam is just done with this. And by the time he finally confronts the trickster, he's loaded for bear and out for blood. And we see Sam as a force to be reckoned with coming into his own. So I think it's an interesting kind of character turning point. Back to you, Carole.
It's also really interesting because, the first half is almost amusing. I mean, it's terrible that Dean keeps dying, but they found funny ways for him to keep dying. Do these tacos taste funny? That kind of thing. But when he really dies, we see Sam go to definitely a really dark place where he's like, there is no humor. There's nothing. He is just gunning for it. And it's a real eye opener. Let's break Sam's heart again. Heart. Season 2, episode 17. They meet a really charming, lovely, intelligent young lady, and they're worried about protecting her from a werewolf, or, did she become a werewolf? Oh no, she made it through the night. And she and Sam have an undeniable attraction, and even Dean is like, okay, I'm out of here. Go get him. And we have this great hot sequence of the two of them in bed, and all kinds of writhing muscles and clenching hands, and you can't show a lot on regular TV, but they conveyed a lot. They made their point. But unfortunately, she has become a werewolf. And she doesn't want to hurt people, and so she's like, you have to put me down. And again, so in season 1 we had Sam kind of realizing, oh, this isn't going to be the end of love in my life. Now here he fell hard and fast. It wasn't they were planning on getting married or anything, but in the 24 36 hours they spent together, he really, felt a lot of feelings, and she reciprocated. And to all of a sudden, not just even have to leave her, but to actually end her life is just horrific. And Dean tries to spare him, and he's like, nope, nope, she asked me, it's on me. I'm going to do this, and you're just like, on the one hand, the enormous strength of character for him to be able to do that. But on the other hand, the tears, his face is just, shiny with tears. And it is horrible and heartbreaking. And, happily, they don't show us that moment. We get Dean's reaction to hearing the shot. And that's heartbreaking enough. Um, so, yeah, we see Sam go through all of these humor and feelings and flirting and then passion and then this really terrible end. He really runs the gamut here, and Jared just really brings us all the way through it with him. And so that is a really occasionally difficult to watch, because you're just like, oh, but it's just so good and so beautifully done that it's definitely a fave.
Okay. How about you, Elektra?
Season 6, episode 13, Unforgiven. This gives us insight into Sam's missing year when he was running around with Grandpa Samuel, and they were working cases, so to speak, except Sam wasn't quite right, and Samuel just didn't notice it.
Or didn't care.
Or didn't care, yeah, because he was just like the best hunter ever, and Grandpa didn't know him all that well. And this one alternates somewhat between what happened, a year ago during the missing year and in the present day, when they have returned to this town where Sam and Samuel were a year ago, and now we learn why hunters never go back to some place where they worked a case before, because Sam apparently worked his way through a few women, and none of them who were there, who survived, were happy about it. And the sheriff is miffed, and everybody is unhappy with him, and they're struggling to figure it out. Sam beat people up, slept with their wives, was generally just an asshole, and they thought they had gotten the monster. Not so much. The monster had come back, well, survived it, taken over some other people, and now they were back trying to get the monster again. And this is where Dean is really starting to understand that Sam is not right. He is really not right. And at the end of this, Dean is bent on figuring out what's wrong with Sam. And he's gonna fixing Sam is now top of his list, right underneath become invincible.
Mhm.
It's a fantastic one. It showcases Sam really well, because they didn't shoot part of this a year ago. They were shooting them pretty much at the same time, and we got to see him acting weird from a year ago and weird now, and trying to pretend he's okay now, which he's not. And it's a great showcase
Okay.
for Jared. It's a great episode, and they eventually get the monster, but it's a rough one, mostly because we all love Sam.
Mhm.
And we're not used to him being the villain or the bad boy or the not nice guy who loves them and leaves them and beats people up. People who don't deserve it. I guess
Yeah.
that's the real thing that got you, is these people did not deserve to have the crap beaten out of them for looking at them funny.
My take is sacrifice. I think this is honestly one of my favorites out of the whole 16, 15-year canon. It's just such an emotionally powerful episode. And this is Sam, who is still guilt-ridden over everything he did when he didn't have a soul, and feels he still needs to make atonement for all that, all his sins. And he thinks Dean is judging him because, they never did They never did on camera resolve the whole voicemail issue, although fan fiction has dealt with it many, 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 many times. So theoretically, that's still open in Sam's head. And it's all about closing the gates of hell. But what Sam knows, but he didn't tell Dean, is that the final sacrifice is he has to die. He'll sanctify Crowley's blood, but he has to die. And there is this wonderful confrontation when Dean puts aside all the crap that's been between them, all of his anger at Sam, and just gets down to raw, visceral, you're my brother and I love you emotion. And we get a glimpse of what has been going on in Sam's head in terms of the self-recrimination and his anger at himself for doing those things, and guilt, and feeling like the world is better off without him, and Dean making it very clear that the world in general is not better off without him, and Dean is not better off without him. And it's just one of the most emotionally charged moments between the brothers that we get in the whole series run. It's just absolutely beautiful. And Jared plays it as broken so perfectly. You know, we've seen Bamf Sam, and we've seen you know, gangly Sam, but this is really broken Sam. And it's an emotionally powerful episode, and Jared knocks it out of the park. Carole, you're muted.
My husband was coming in with groceries, so I was being he's almost unrecognizable. You know, like when you watch him, you're just like, oh my God, he just, you know, he just is stripped down to the bone with all of that. It is really another one that for mine, another one where he doesn't get stripped down to that level, but we do see him under great pressure and everything, is the born again identity. He's being tormented by Lucifer. He can't sleep, so he's getting, you know, kind of nutsy from the sleep deprivation. And he finally checks himself into a mental hospital because he's not functioning. So we see him struggling, you know, he's trying to still fight against Lucifer, but he's so worn down at this point with the constant barrage of Lucifer being obnoxious, you know, singing and keeping him awake and all of this stuff and taunting him and everything, that he's just, you know, he's haggard and his eyes are red and he's just really suffering. But he is who he is, and there's somebody there who needs help, and he helps her. Her dead brother is haunting her, but not in a good way. Not in a like, hey, I'm your brother, I love you, but in a, hey, kill yourself and, you know, come join me kind of thing. And he's able to help her. So even in the midst of all of his own trauma and physical and mental stress, and in this, you know, not great environment, nonetheless, he's able to help her and send her brother on. And to see that he still has the strength to do that, and to see how valiantly he keeps fighting against Lucifer and what Lucifer is doing to him, is just, you know, kind of humbling. You're just like, he's really, you know, he can still do this even under such duress. And I thought that was really, really significant in showing us the innate strength within him and resilience.
What was that title again?
That was the born again identity.
Okay. Elektra?
Also, Mark, what's his name, who plays Lucifer?
Mark
was
Pellegrino.
remarkable at
Mhm.
being annoying. It's a gift, an absolute gift, the way he was singing and just would not let up.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm sure some of that was ad lib,
Mm-hmm.
and he was good at it. I'm going to go with The Rupture, just because of the emotional content there. That's season 15, episode 3. This is where there's a lot of emotional content and a lot of stuff going on, but the Sam content here is he has to kill Rowena. And it packs a hell of a punch. And I cry every time I watch it. Because I love the Rowena character and her arc where she's gone to the point of self-sacrifice for the good of all, and that Sam has to do it because they know that that's where her story ends. And he's not doing it out of evil or because she's done a bad thing, but because that's what her book says. And because now is her time to die to complete the spell, and they have to close that gap. They've got to shut down the scar from hell, the big rupture. And it just kills you that he's got to be the one to do it, because somebody has to. And the emotional content, that all I remember from that episode. I mean, God, Belphegor is just an annoyance that you just hit with a fly swatter. The core of the whole episode is Sam and Rowena.
Mhm.
And the relationship that they have built to the point where she trusts him to kill her. And it's about it's it's not love, it's friendship, it's trust, and it's necessity. And it's about the greater good. And it's just a killer episode.
Mhm. In kind of the same vein that Carole had mentioned, I'm going with The Man Who Knew Too Much. And this is in the Godsteel arc, which is not one of my favorite arcs. Cass Godsteel has broken Sam, the Great Wall of Sam, the wall that death put in Sam's mind when he came back from hell to keep him sane and functioning. And Cass breaks it as a distraction, which some of us in fandom have never quite been able to forgive. And we get to see, Dean goes off to deal with the problem that Castiel is posing. And Sam is kind of a blubbering mess dealing with the broken wall. And what we get to see, if anybody out there who has done the kind of therapy where you are supposed to confront aspects of the self and have a conversation with aspects of the self, this is it writ large and very dramatically. And Sam knocks it out of the park. Confronting the different broken pieces of himself so that he can recognize them, hear what they have to tell him, and then hopefully reintegrate them into some sort of a functioning whole so he can go save Dee. And Jared just turns in such an emotionally nuanced performance. We want to cry for him. We really want to punch Godsteel for breaking the wall. But we also recognize that the wall was going to come down sooner or later at some point. This was going to happen. It just is a really bad time now. And so watching Sam literally pull himself together so he can go get back into the fight, Jared just does a bravo performance with that.
And he has to outwit himself even,
Mhm.
because part of him is like, no, I like it like this.
Mhm.
So he has to like figure out how to outwit himself, but he's him. It's just wonderful. The three faces of Sam, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really good.
Carole, give us another one.
Oh gosh, he's so good at portraying all of that kind of torturous stuff. So I'm going to go with a funny one. Let's do Bad Day at Black Rock. Season 3, episode 3. We have The Cursed Rabbit's Foot. And Sam doesn't know he has it. But everything goes great and he can do all of this, you know, but then he loses it and then all of these terrible things happen to him. But they're all like kind of small, ordinary things, like he lost his shoe. And, you know, at some point, Dean's like, sit here, don't do anything, you know. And there's a like this great comedic scene where he's sitting there and he's not doing anything. But then the air conditioner and then the curtain and then the air conditioner bursts into flames and then the curtain's going up in fire. And he's sitting there like, I'm not doing anything. So yeah, he has some really good comic moments there, and it's just nice to. Sam gets a lot of trauma and drama, and Jared's amazing at it. But it's also really really fun to see him doing something of a more comedic, lighthearted nature, and that too he's extremely deft with.
Mm-hmm. Elektra?
I was torn about this one, but I'm going to go with Frontierland because, I mean, when push comes to shove, Sam gets to meet Samuel Colt and talks him into, well, discovers that he's not the, you should never meet your heroes. That's what it boils down to, but talks him into helping out. And Samuel Colt comes through for him in the end. Dean is off doing Dean stuff. And Sam gets the mission done because push comes to shove, Sam will get it done. You know, he's the one who goes and finds Samuel Colt and says, I know you've got the gun and this is what's going to happen with the Phoenix. And I know you did this. And it's a fun episode. And of course, he's the one who gets the package. And it's a trope, but it's a trope we love where, you know, some guy shows up from a delivery service and says, you know, this has been in the office for 100 years or 150 years. And, you know, we were betting you nobody would be here to get it. And they said, no, it's for us. And there it is, the bottle of Phoenix ashes that they so desperately need from Samuel Colt. It's just great, you know, as they're mourning the fact that they failed at the mission, somebody saves it for them. And it's wonderful in so many ways. But, you know, Dean had fun playing sheriff and Sam got the job done.
Well, I don't think we can cover Sam-centric episodes without All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2. Because this is where the special children have all been kidnapped to this ghost town and they're getting picked off one by one. And Sam is Sam has ethics. He's trying to ally with people and get as many people out of there alive as he can. And not everybody is of that mindset. And you've got some folks who are only out for themselves. And just as Bobby and Dean get to the ghost town and we think it's over and Sam sees them and one of the other contestants knifes him in the back and he collapses and Dean runs to him. Bobby goes after the killer, but it doesn't get him. And Sam dies in Dean's arms. And it was, you know, it was a gut punch to watch. I'm sure it was even more so for the folks who watched it before it was in reruns because you didn't have the, oh, well, you know, there's another 11 seasons after this. You didn't know what was coming. And both Dean and Sam knock it completely out of the park, but it is a fundamental game changer for the series and the Winchesters in terms of what comes out of that happening. And Sam just plays his part in this so well. And you know, we see him trying to do the right thing and getting, you know, cut down for doing it, and then realizing when he comes back to life that Dean has paid some kind of a terrible price for it. And Dean tries to play it off and tries to, distract him and tries to lie. And Sam says, no, what did it cost? And now we know there's going to be a reckoning. So another just great, tragic, heart-jerking, tear-jerking, heartbreaking, but excellent episode. Carole, we've got time for one more round. Give us another one.
Season 2, episode 14, Born Under a Bad Sign. This is another great early one. And I think it's one of the first times that we see Sam as not Sam. Because at some point we find out he is possessed by Meg. So he is Meg Sam. He's been missing. Dean's looking for him. Dean finds him. Sam's like, I don't know what happened. I think I killed somebody. Look at all the blood. They go, they're trying to retrace the steps, and the guy walk into a gas station. The guy's like, get the heck out of here. I'm going to call the police. And they're all confused, like, what the heck is going on? Well, as Meg possessed him, she made him kill a couple people, and she has him taunting Dean first, like all like heartfelt and like, Dean, you can't let me kill anyone more, you gotta kill me. And Dean's like, yeah, that's not happening. And Sam's like, oh my god, you're so annoying, and like knocks him out. And goes he has a scene with Joe that is just mind-blowing. We had not seen him do anything like this at this point, where he, we know now something's really wrong with him. And he is like seductive and like a snake. Like he's very, smooth talking, trying to coerce her a little bit. He's laughing, at her crush on Dean and saying he's never going to look at you that way. And then all holes are dropped, and he's got her on the bar, and he's like snarling at her and grinning at her. And, it's just really, really bad news for Joe. Fortunately, Dean comes along and rescues, and no harm is done. But the power that he brought to that, his, everything, you could tell by his body language and his voice, and this kind of not maniacal glee where he's like twirling his mustache or something, but just the unhingedness of being this demon inside Sam is really chilling. And like, I would not want to meet him in a dark alley, that's for sure. So it was really interesting to see Jared portraying regular Sam and then Meg Sam, and it was one of the first times, like I said, that we got to see that happening, and it was really impressive. It was very, very impressive. So yeah, it's an important story plot-wise, because this is what leads to them eventually getting the tattoos so that they cannot get possessed. In the meantime, Bobby gives them charms, but this is what leads to the tattoos. And yeah, he really delivers a chilling performance.
Okay, how about you, Elektra?
I'm going to point out something else very important. They got the tattoos so they wouldn't be possessed. Sam actually went to college and was real close to graduating. So when they go off and try and get regular jobs in season 9, The Purge, Sam is hired as a trainer. He's got some skills. Dean, however, is hired as a lunch lady, and he spends his time in the bath, in the basement, munching on pudding that makes him stoned. Whereas, Sam is teaching yoga and looking good doing it. There are a lot of good things about this episode. We get to know Donna, but mostly we get to see some of Sam's other fine skills. And there's a lot of Sam to love in this episode. He wears some fine outfits, and it's an interesting monster. It's interesting how they were ready to deal with, you know, the sister, except, you know, she just couldn't control the brother who went absolutely nuts, because they were willing to leave her alone and let her run her business and just, you know, make people thin. It was cool. She wasn't killing anybody. And, you know, they were having, you know, not such a bad time at, you know, the little resort or whatever it was. And again, not so bad watching the boys doing their jobs. I mean, Dean got to wear a hairnet. There
One
are
of those
some,
memorable moments.
yeah, there were some really nice little outfits they put them in.
Well, I'm going to end us on a funnier note, and that's Plucky Pennywhistle's Magical Menagerie. You know, we have seen Bamf Sam just kicking butt and taking names. We have seen him angry. We've seen him, you know, we've seen him in all these other powerful ways. And then we see him trapped at essentially Chuck E. Cheese. And you know, we've kind of gotten a feel that he really doesn't like clowns. And Dean has teased him about this. I don't know that we ever really find out what started it, but he definitely, he goes to investigate what's going on at this kids emporium that has a larger than life mascot of a clown. And those of us who have escorted children to Chuck E. Cheese and similar emporiums know just what a madhouse that is, with tons of little kids who have had way too much sugar and pizza. And the noise and the lights and the music and everything is just cranked up to a gazillion. And then there's usually some sort of robotic stage show with singing animatronics. And in the middle of all this is an actual monster and a mystery. But what is really fascinating is seeing that with everything that Sam has faced down and all of his heroics, just don't make him deal with a clown. And that's very human. Well, folks, thank you
The
so
ball
much.
washer.
Pardon?
The ball
Yeah,
washer.
the ball washer.
Oh, the ball washer was bad.
And if you ever had a kid who needed to play in the ball pit, you felt that. Anyhow, let's let everybody know where they can find you online. This has been fantastic. Carole?
You can find me on Facebook in the continual Facebook group, as well as the Supernatural TFWNC group. And then as Ellis Colton, you can go to elliscolton.com and find all my socials there. I'm on Blue Sky, BookBub, Goodreads. Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. They're all there. And my most recent book, The Case of Thistledown House, is now available on Amazon and wide at Smashwords. The sequel, The Malevolent Sea, will be out in about a month.
Very good. Elektra?
My website is untilmidnight.com, where you can find most everything. I do most of my socials on Mastodon, where I'm Elektra at wandering.shop. Join us Monday nights at 7, where we ask 4 random questions about some topic, and everybody is welcome to join in under the hashtag WriteFant. And we're coming up on a book launch for Permutations, a new anthology of Jack Chalker's Well World, launching Memorial Day at Balticon.
Very nice. And I'm pretty easy to find online at gailzmartin.com, morganbryce.com. If you spell those right, you'll find me. I'm on pretty much all of the social medias based on those names, but mostly you can find me here on Continual. So thank you so much for being here, and thanks to all of you for watching and listening. There will be more Supernatural coming up on Continual, so we'll see you online.